Welcome to the SacconiPrince.com show starring your man, Sacconi Prince. Sacconi is an international recognized motivational speaker that focuses on personal development and leadership development. He does this through thought-provoking keynotes, life-changing books, and powerful group coaching sessions. Sacconi is a transformational speaker, award-winning author, editor of a globally read online magazine, and conference host. Please welcome your host, Sacconi Prince.
That's right, that's my DJ Mike J. Hey man, listen, I appreciate you. Hey, we're gonna have to have DJ Mike J on the show so he can talk about his mental real estate moments. DJ Mike J is an author, but he's also a doctor, Dr. Michael Freeland. You gotta check him out. Well, listen, let's go on and get the show started. You know, I was thinking about how important it is for us as we go after our goals and our dreams, for us to realize that we need help. We need somebody to come alongside and help us. I remember Bishop T.D. Jakes saying that if your dreams aren't big enough, they should be big enough to scare you. If they're not big enough to scare you, your dreams aren't big enough. And so I know for myself that I've played small a lot of times. And I think some of you have too. When it comes to your goals and your dreams, the things that you want to go after, you kind of find yourself not really wanting to actually go too big or too far or too fast. But you know what I tell people is, in the meantime, put in the work. You may have lofty goals and dreams, but you have to put in the work, because in putting in the work, once you get people on the team, you'll know what to tell them to do. Man, I remember my first summit. My wife was saying, Sacconi, what is it that you want me to do? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm trying to figure this out as I go. But as I've put on summit after summit, event after event, I now know what needs to be done, and I can then delegate. I can share that responsibility. But I tell you, it's too big for one person to do it. I remember hearing this radio commercial where this guy talked about, you never see a doctor that takes in his own patients, that does his own anesthesia, that does his own stitching. The doctors, they have a team of people. So what I want you to understand is that in order for you to achieve your goals and your dreams, you have to have help. There's no way you can get around it. There's no way you can get to where you need to get on your own. That reminds me of a video I did several years ago, but it still applies today. So here's something else fresh out the vault. Hello everybody, how you doing today? This is Sacconi Prince of SacconiPrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. And today I want to ask you a question. And that question is, how big is your dream? That's right, how big is your dream? You know, one of the things I hated about college was having to move. You know, because your lease runs out, you have to get a new apartment, and you find yourself having to move. And one of the ways I used to move at first was I would just take a bed sheet and put it in the middle of the floor. And everything that was in that room that needed to go, I would dump it in the middle of that bed sheet, grab the four corners, tie it up, and put it in the back of my car. Well, that was okay when I first started out. But as time went on, I accumulated more stuff. And it got to the point to where it's like, okay, I need some help. When you're talking about your dreams, if they're small dreams, you may not really need any help with those. If you just want to get a date, I'm sure that's not too hard to do. Let's say you want it to be in a long-term relationship and you want it to have a fulfilling marriage. Well, that's going to take a little more work. And I'm sure you're going to need to get some help with that. Well, let's just say that you wanted to lose 2 or 3 pounds. You really don't need a whole lot of help with that. But if your dream is to compete in the Ironman, you may need to get you a personal trainer. Let's say your dream is to own your own business. Well, you can go get a business license and open up a door and say, I'm in business. But if you want it to last, if you want to have any longevity, you're going to need to get some help. You know, it reminds me, I was driving from a business trip earlier this year, and I was on the interstate. And I came up on a truck that had these little caution flags sticking out the back and had a little light on top. And on the back of it, it had a sign that said wide load. But that wasn't the wide load. That was one of the spotter trucks. Because in front of it was a huge double wide trailer that somebody was moving from one place to the next. And in front of that truck was another truck, another spotter truck. It had on it wide load, same caution flags and same lights. And I noticed even as they were going down the interstate, I started to notice the bridges that the interstate went under. They had these little signs at the top that say, okay, 13 feet 2 inches, or 14 feet 6 inches, or 15 feet 12 inches. Okay, wait a minute. That's actually 16 feet. But you get my point. Each bridge actually had a label on to say how tall it was. And if the double wide trailer couldn't get up under there, they had to find an alternate route. And those trucks, those spotter trucks, they were in constant communication with the driver of the double wide trailer, because he had to make sure, okay, look, if what I'm coming up on, I can't make it under, we need to stop and we need to make an alternate route. So what am I saying? Your dream, if it's that big, you're going to need to get some help. And there may be people that come into your life that your dream is too big for them. You can't get under them. You may have to take an alternate route. They may not be a part of your journey, but you have to be willing to take that alternate route in order for you to get your dream from where you had it to where you want it. I talked last week about moving your dreams from your heart to your hand. And in doing so, if your dream is that big, you are going to need some help. And I encourage you today, get the help you need in order to move your dream from your heart to your hand, because if your dream is big, you're going to need some help. Hey, look, this is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. And we ask you to like and share this video. Thank you. We've been talking about the importance of building a team and having people around you that can help you accomplish your goals and your dreams. I know sometimes we get so sidetracked of trying to do everything ourselves, but at some point you have to realize, in order for me to achieve this lofty goal, I got to build a team. But in order for you to build a team, you have to lead the team. That means you have to start with leading yourself. Then you're in a better position to where you can lead them, because you can give them direction and guidance. You can tell them what it is you need to do. So when it comes to you going after your goals and your dreams, you have to position yourself for success. You have to put yourself in a place to where you can win. And one of the biggest problems a lot of people have is being willing to do that, being willing to position themselves for that. But if we ever get past ourselves and get past our own pride, we can position ourselves to get the help that we need to get to where we're going. I tell people all the time, you can't blame somebody for not catching you when you push them away. So we have to have a support system. Some people around us that will help us get to where we're supposed to be. And so with that being said, I have another video that I've done several years ago, but it still applies. Here's something else fresh out the vault. Hello everybody, how you doing today? This is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. And today I have a demonstration for you. Imagine that this right here is you, and you're going after your goal. Now imagine that this is your goal. What happens? Going at it alone doesn't really work out that well. But now imagine if you were here among other bristles. You had some support. Now what happens to your goal? The reason that the bristles are able to hold up the ball is because there are more bristles. It's not just one single one trying to do everything by itself, but there are more support here. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. If if you are going to achieve your goal, if you're going to make a difference in this world, you're going to need some help. I say it time and time again, the quickest way for you to suffocate is to operate in a vacuum. No business, no person, no individual can do it alone. You need help. Because what happens is after a while, you fall over. After a while, you give up. After a while, you give in. Why? Because you don't have anybody to prop you up. See, in this illustration here, these bristles are supporting the weight of this ball. So not one is responsible with holding it. And see, your goal has to be so big you can't do it by yourself. You need some help. You need someone to come alongside and help you achieve and reach your goal. And check this out. Even if I take this ball off and put this can, which is actually full of money in it. Now, do you imagine what this bristle would have done if I would put the can on top of it? It wouldn't have been able to hold it. The fact is, you can do more together than you can alone. So I encourage you, don't try to be the Lone Ranger, but have a team. Put a team together, a team of qualified people to help you reach your goal. And in the end, you can definitely make more money. And look, my name is Saccone Prince of SacconePrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. And I'm just reminding you, get a team together so you too can reach your goal. And look, I asked you to like and share this video. Thank you.
Ready for a nap right now.
And we all have to work hard like that.
Right.
Man, it's about time for us to get started.
Well, we are. It's we live. We just waiting on you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, men of God. Welcome to the National Men's Prayer Call.
And you know that I'm the Messiah. And on that rock, I'll be able to build your faith, your ministry, your identity, everything based on that fundamental knowledge that you know my identity.
Most of us are trying to game plan these different areas of life. Like, how am I going to win in my business? How am I going to, get this relationship right? How am I going to lose that 20 or 30 pounds, right? That COVID-19 that a lot of us put on. Like, we got plans for everything else, but what is the God plan?
The wait is finally over for Saccone's most anticipated book of the year, Leadership That Lasts, passing on 10 solid principles to ensure an enduring legacy. Powerful, effective, impactful, helpful, dynamic, phenomenal, transformative, life-changing. Available now in Amazon. Order yours today.
Listen, I can't tell you how excited I am to have our guest today. He's my good friend, Wesley Perine, and he actually was one of the facilitators of our summit last year, and he taught on corporate leadership. But I'm not going to steal his thunder. What I'm going to do is I want him to actually introduce himself to you and let you know what he's capable of doing. Wesley?
Oh man, it is such an honor and a privilege to be with you once again, Saccone, on this new platform. And I just love the amazing work that you're doing in providing resources, tips, and tricks, and so many nuggets to so many amazing people. And I was just really honored when you asked me to be a part of this. But like Saccone said, man, I am his friend, his brother, Wesley Perine, youth pastor of Impact Church, also the owner and CEO of Next Level Training LLC, where if your training is not impactful, exciting, or engaging, you need to give us a call so we can help you also go to the next level.
That is it. That is it. And we're all about next level here. So, man, listen. I want to jump right into this because I know you have a ton of, you don't have nuggets, you have boulders. That's one thing I love about you. You don't just drop nuggets, you drop boulders. So, man, listen, I want to ask you this question. When it comes to you developing yourself as a person, what are some of the things you've done, some of the tips or tricks that you've learned to become a better version of who you are?
Man, that's for me personally, it's all been about trying to just sharpen my craft and being a master of my craft, as a trainer, as a corporate trainer, sales trainer, facilitator. It's important that I knew that I wanted to see the best. I wanted to be around the best. So some of the things that I did is, summits and seminars, such as things that you have of, I exposed my things to those, making sure that I was signing up for those, making sure I was signing up for webinars, making sure I was doing different books. Sometimes there is that saying that says, that like leaders are readers. I mean, I agree with that to a certain extent, because for me, I'm a kinesthetic learner. So that means I'm hands-on. I want to be a part of it. So I enjoy conferences. I enjoy being able to have Q&A panels and go and ask people questions. So one of the biggest things that I did for me, in order for me to become a great trainer, I wanted to be around great trainers. So I went and got master trainer certified. I went and, paid for those certifications, went and got the education. I went and put in the hours. I did the training at call centers. I did the training at churches. I did the training in the service industry, in the restaurant industry, just anywhere that anybody would let me train. I wanted to train in order, whether it was in the country, out of the country. I wanted to try to stretch myself as much as I could to become the facilitator that I am today.
Right, right. Well, it sounds to me like what you're saying is that in order for you to be a better version of yourself, you have to make an investment.
Absolutely. That's the best investment that you can make, is in yourself.
Exactly. You will never go broke investing in yourself.
Absolutely not. Completely agree.
Somebody asked me one time, said, Sakoni, what would you tell your younger self? And my answer has always been the same, especially since I've learned this. I would tell my younger self to start early, to start investing in myself early. See, so many of us, we spend so much time trying to, I guess, find our way. And I understand that, that is a part of life. But when you have other people that are willing to spend more money on you than you, that says a lot. So I've learned to invest in myself. And in that investment, there's definitely a huge, huge return.
Absolutely, Sakoni. And oftentimes some people think that when you say invest in yourself, that you're just talking about money.
Right.
You have to invest into friendships, invest into, asking more questions, invest into spending more time. These are things that don't necessarily cost money, but it may cost some time. It may cost some conversation. It may cost some sweat, right. So don't think that that the word investment means finance or means dollar. No, it means to pour into. So right. If you are that primary investment, so you want to try to pour into yourself any way that you can.
That's true. That is so, so true. Well, so from understanding that you need to invest in yourself, and you've actually done a whole lot of things to pour into you to actually help you be a better version of yourself. What are some of the ways and some of the things that you take from that personal aspect of investing in yourself? How do you communicate, or how does that translate into you helping either to lead others or just lead yourself?
For me personally, I feel that if I'm trying to create a better me, that God has purposed me to do that, to help somebody else. It's that old song, say if I help somebody along the way, then my living is not in vain. Right. So, and in order for me to be able to do that, I know that I have to first be in a position, and then recognize the position that I'm in, and then understand that I'm in that position to serve. So it's hard to create other leaders or lead anybody if you don't have that servant's heart, right? Because if you think just because I know more, I got more, and now it's about me, then you already set up to fail. But it's I know more, I got more, so it's about him so that I can serve them. Right. Yeah. So being able to really tap into that space. And so for me, I always try to tell people it's really about understanding who you are, who you are, what your purpose is. I was told a story one time that there was a conversation in the clouds between two raindrops. One raindrop looked at the other raindrop and said, when it's time for you to fall, where do you want to land? And one raindrop said, I want to land on a mountaintop. And the other one said, well, I want to land on a rose petal. And when it came time for the raindrops to fall, one of them did land on the mountaintop, but the other one missed the rose petal and found himself in the gutter. And now that he was in the gutter, he encountered grit and grime. And grit and grime looked at the raindrop and said, now that you're in the gutter, you either have to be grit or you have to be grime. The raindrop looked at them and said, well, no, I'm a raindrop. And they said, well, no, we understand, but you either have to be grit or you have to be grime because you're in the gutter now. And the raindrop said, well, there's something that you don't know about me. Right now it's raining and the clouds are formed, but soon the clouds are going to pass away. The sun is going to come back out, and I'm going to go through a process called evaporation where I have another chance of hitting my rose petal. And I tell people it's not just knowing who you are, but it's remembering who you are in whatever situation that you find yourself in. So remembering that you are a person that has been built to serve, called to serve, designed to serve, regardless if you're a CEO, you're still a servant. If you're a CFO, you're still a servant. If you're an entrepreneur, you're still a servant. So you're in that position to serve others. And when we really tap into that, it'll help us grow our business, grow our families, grow our relationships, and it'll put us in a better place as a society.
Yeah, that is so, so true. And I love that story, man. Because not knowing who you are, I think is one of the biggest hangups that most people have. I live by the mantra, to whom much is given, much is required. But see, I think the thing is that a lot of people really don't know what they've been given. They haven't taken the time to do an inventory of what God has invested in them. And then they don't see the responsibility that comes with that. I remember as a child growing up, one of the things that I really learned about, really life came from a Saturday morning cartoon. And it was Spider-Man. And Uncle Ben told him, he said, look, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, sir.
And that was just a paraphrase of that scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. And so what I've learned is that, people really don't take the time to understand what they've been given. Yeah. And because of that, they live beneath their privilege. They don't really understand the responsibility that comes with their gifts, their talents, and their abilities. And see, when I actually found mine, I knew for a fact I can't be quiet. Les Brown said that, the greatest fear in the world is public speaking. And I tell people time and time again, I'm afraid not to.
Wow, yeah.
Not because I'm trying to make a name for myself, not because I'm trying to achieve a certain level of celebrity, but I understand that the fruit isn't for the tree. And that's what Dr. Miles Monroe said, that the fruit isn't for the tree. And so for me to take what God has given me and to sit in a corner and not do anything with it, I'm obligated to share the gift that God has placed in me. And in doing so, little did I know that I became a leader when I owned up to what I understood God had for me. And so even with what you're sharing, even with the responsibility that, we have of knowing who we are, no matter where we are, whether we're on the mountaintop or whether we're in the gutter, if we know who we are, we're not going to let our circumstances change or dictate how we act or respond.
Right.
And so I spend my life trying to encourage people to understand who they are, because it's actually in their understanding that they develop the character and the boldness to walk in their calling. And so, man, listen, I want to thank you. I know that there's somebody out there listening right now that really wants to say, how can I get in contact with Wesley? How can I find out more about him? How can I connect with them? Tell people how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely, guys. You can find me. That is Wesley Perine, WesleyPerine. You can email me at WPerine, WPERINE1906 @gmail. You can go to my website, nextleveltraining.com. I'm on all social media platforms under that, WPERINE1906, and you can locate me there. Also on YouTube to be able to locate training videos and see some of the amazing things that I've done. And just once again, like always, Sakoni, I definitely want to say thank you, brother, for the work that you're doing and for your commitment to excellence, for your commitment to change, and for your commitment to growth, to be able to help our people get to the next level. Bless you, my brother.
Well, thank you, man. I do appreciate that. And if I can say anything else about Wesley Perine is, I mean, he is a man of integrity. He's a man that has a genuine heart, and I am so appreciative that he agreed, in fact, to be on this particular broadcast. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and we have some more information for you. So we'll check you out in a minute. Today's episode is brought to you in part by. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Nanny Night Night. Nanny Night Night is a free podcast that you can listen to on Anchor.fm. It's a podcast to help put your toddler to sleep. Nanny Night Night is bedtime stories for beautiful souls. You can click on the link around this video or go to Anchor.fm/Nanny Night Night.
And good night, the old lady whispering, hush. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. And good night, beautiful little souls.
What an incredible interview. I told you, Wesley Perine, he drops boulders. And I hope you know that he's just one of many heavy hitters we're going to have on this show. But before we wrap up, I do have a final word. That's found in Amos chapter 3, verses 3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? When you're trying to accomplish something, most companies have a mission statement. Most companies have a statement that lets you know that, okay, this is what we're trying to do. And as we've seen on our show today, it's important for you to have people to come alongside and help you to get to where you say you want to go. So how can you walk with somebody unless you agree with them? You have to make that a priority. Me and my wife were walking around the neighborhood and I quoted that exact scripture to her. How can two walk together except they agree? One, you have to have a destination that you agreed upon, and then two, even the pace. So you can't walk too fast or too slow. If you're going to walk together, there has to be an agreement made. And so a lot of the things we talked about on the show drives home that very point, that you need people around you to help you get to the place that God intended for you to be. And I'm telling you, if you do that, your life will be that much better. Hey, look, this is Saucony Prince of the SauconyPrince.com show, and we want to thank you for tuning in, but you got to be here next week. I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be, but our guest is going to light things up. We'll see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye. You can listen to my podcast on iHeartRadio. And don't forget to subscribe. Man, this is great.